For today's video, I'm travelling to Cradley Heath to tell the story of one of the most powerful strikes in Black Country history. Now, in 1910, women chainmakers in this area were working brutal hours for poverty pay until they said, you know what, enough's enough. Led by Mary Macarthur, they took on the bosses and they won. Let's have a look at the story of the Chainmakers Strike of 1910. This memorial statue isn't just metal. It's memory. It stands here in Cradley Heath, the women chainmakers, who in 1910 did something that changed British working history. And now at the time, this area was one of the beating hearts of chainmaking. But behind the industry, behind the iron, the smoke, were women working in tiny backyard forges, hammering chain by hand, often in brutal heat for poverty wages. We're not talking about a few hours here and there. This was hard, exhausting, dangerous work. And many were earning around 5 shillings a week. 5 shillings. For work that helped build an empire. And eventually, the women of Cradley Heath said, nah, that's enough. Now this is Mary Macarthur. She wasn't from Cradley Heath, she was born in Glasgow, but she became one of the most important voices for working women in Britain. Now Mary helped form the National Federation of Women Workers, and she understood something powerful. Badly paid women were often ignored because they weren't organised. And they weren't organised because they were badly paid. A vicious circle. In 1910, a legal minimum rate had been set for hand-hammered chainmakers. It should have raised many women's wages to around 11 shilling a week, but some employers just refused to pay it. So Mary Macarthur and the women chainmakers turned a local injustice into a national story. She used speeches, newspapers, public meetings and pure determination to make people look at Cradley Heath and see what was actually happening here. The strike began because these women weren't asking for luxury. They weren't asking for any special treatment. They were just asking for the legal minimum wage that they'd been promised. Now, around 800 women came out on strike. No work meant no wages. And for families already living close to the edge, that was terrifying. But they held firm. Collections came in from around the country, and the strike fund helped keep them going. This was courage, not the glamorous kind, but the everyday kind. The kind that feeds children, pays rent and still refuses to be broken. And that's why I love this sculpture, because Mary is important, but she isn't standing alone. Look around her. These figures represent the women, the families, the children and the whole community affected by the strike. This wasn't just one famous person sweeping in and saving the day. This was ordinary Black Country women standing together in a world that expected them to keep quiet, keep working and be grateful for scraps. After 10 long weeks, the women won. By the 22nd of October 1910, the final employer had agreed to pay the minimum rate. Their wages rose from around 5 shillings to 11 shilling a week, more than double for some. And that victory helped prove something massive, that a minimum wage could work, that women workers could organise and that people written off as powerless could force change. So when you walk past this statue, don't just see a monument, see the heat of the forge, see the chains, see the women who laid down their tools and said, our labour has value. Cradley Heath didn't just make chains. In 1910, it helped break them.